Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let me grab the link here real quick and post it up to everyone. Let's see. Trying to be as active as I can to go live, but sometimes it just gets hard, guys. Life gets in the way, and um, we have better stuff to do sometimes than just go live. But I love my community, and I especially love the fact that I get to share, my knowledge and my experience with everyone, especially when it, helps benefit others, right? As you guys very well know, that I don't really participate, in crypto Twitter. I, log on once in a while. I have no need for that kind of conversation to be my life. I feel that the space is just too negative, and people are just too quick to criticize, especially when they don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway. So it kind of gets a little annoying. But I think the people who actually know what they're talking about in this space, they're making money consistently, kind of like our group does, and we make some gains, pretty good gains, and none of it is financial advice, but it's the best advice that we can give you without actually telling you, to buy or sell. So I think our group will tell you that we make some good gains in our community, guys. We have some of the best people, some of the more supportive community, and I love the fact that we can talk about all kinds of topics and learn from each other and grow with each other, and essentially be able to make money while doing so, right? So, with that being said, I'm gonna get started in a minute. Let's see, make sure people know I'm going live. All right, if you hear me, please do give me a shout out, give me a thumbs up, and let's get started. All right, so first things first, guys, this is the chart that I always have in one of my tabs. I like to be able to look at, aside from BTC, which are the other runners that are going to give me better gains, especially when BTC is moving up. Sometimes it's LTC, sometimes it's Ethereum, and sometimes it's Bitcoin Cash, right? And so I want to be able to trade off the back of BTC moving up or down, whether I'm longing or shorting the market. And this helps me because, for example, let me give you a perfect example right here. As you can see, back here, when Bitcoin dumped off, Ethereum dumped off almost 9 to 10% down here. Bitcoin dropped about 7.5%, right? So that's an extra 3% covered that you can either use as a nice cushion in your Ethereum shorts, or you can essentially be able to close that with an extra gain when you're shorting Ethereum, right? Same thing on the longs right now. Say if you were to long right here from here to here, that's probably about say a percent or two right there. But for LTC or Ethereum, that's going from -2 to almost up here, which is about 1.5, I would say, or actually, no, it's really not. It's about 0.5, so about 2.5% right there, right? So you can see why it's important to have a chart like this open to be able to let which direction do you want to go in, right? Whether it's alts or if you want to just stick to BTC. Let me just say hi to everyone in the community, whoever's watching in YouTube. What's up, Ryan? What's up, Randy? What's up, Bill? Thank you guys for joining. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy my content. All right, so this chart right here is something that I mocked up explaining how fractals work, okay? If you don't know how fractals work, they're essentially, patternistic movement in a particular asset where you see whether it's bots or algos moving the asset by a certain percent in a certain kind of pattern-like manner. And I sort of spotted this back here for this move right here. But now I'm kind of looking at this move that we're currently in, 5150, if I can spot something back here. Unfortunately, I can't right now. This is a pretty severe drop, but remember that, this drop right here actually was more triggered off because of the Bitfinex news. Okay, if you guys aren't familiar with what happened with Bitfinex, the New York Attorney General essentially is alleging that Bitfinex and Tether are incorrectly using funds or incorrectly swapping funds back and forth between their companies, and there's almost a $800 to $850 million uncovered gap, if you will, in those funds. And I think the New York AG does not want to have New York residents being able to trade on that exchange. Now, I think there's a couple of reasons why they don't want that. One, because they want to protect their residents. Number two, which I think a lot of people don't know about, is I personally think that the New York government is a little strict in how they want their residents to be able to utilize funds in unrestricted, unregulated financial markets, because there are possibilities that you could, get really wealthy or make a lot of money. Now, I think in some ways the government does not want people to be able to have that kind of open lane highway to be able to do that, because they want to be able to restrict that kind of investment or that kind of risk hedge to high net worth individuals, big institutional clients. Because if you are allowing, say, retail investors to put their money in, that limits the cap of institutional investors or accredited investors to be able to put their money in, right? It's just one of my theories that I have for why sometimes governments restrict you from making these decisions. Of course, I do understand that in a lot of ways they are trying to protect, the average retail herd from making mistakes. But I also think that people are smart enough, or quote unquote dumb enough, to make their own decisions. So why not just let them be, right? So anyway, getting back to the price action, right? So currently we're at a critical juncture of price action. Okay, so I'm going to jump out to, say, a 2-hour level right here. Okay, and I want to show you guys that price is currently hovering right around 51.50, and I didn't really buy this little spike up here either, just because I know that for price to show real strength, it needs to start climbing above 52.50, maybe 5300, to start climbing above these levels up here. Okay, so what price is really doing right now is just creating lower highs. Okay, that's the best I can tell you as of right now. Our community is 100% in cash. I mentioned this in my analysis. If you're not part of our community, guys, again, I put up daily videos, and look at all these updates that I put up through the day, right? I put up a 15 to 20 minute video every single morning, right around 6 to 7 a.m. And then I post multiple updates through the day, okay, like these, right, like these, all through the day, and I explain to people exactly what we're doing. See, as you can see, I remain 100% in cash till the market gives me a reason to jump in, or I might just short the market if support starts breaking. But we have to look at exactly where the supports lie and what we're really looking for, right? So first comes first. This critical support right here, about 49.75 or so, let's just say the $4,900 area. Okay, that held up pretty nicely right now. But look, what's really happening is after we had this big drop off, okay, we created a lower high right there and then another lower high. So if we test the support again, I think we're going to break it and probably head to the downside of 4,800. Okay, so this is why I don't even want to think about coming back to the support. But as you can see, BTC is already making this rounded like move and creating a lower high. Okay, I'm not seeing higher lows as well as higher highs being created, so I have to assume that the bears are really pressuring the price down to be able to kind of contract this thing at the very least to 4,900, or potentially setting up for a bigger drop eventually back towards 4,800, or the 4,600 final support, which if that's broken, then we're definitely going down to 4,000. Okay, that's almost I can say that with absolute certainty that if we do break 4,600, I don't see any support in the way between this area and this area. Okay, seriously, guys, it's gonna be really rough. And what's worse is, there's this big sort of pool of liquidity that's just sitting there in this region right here. Hang on, let me get rid of this. Let me sort of zoom into this right now. This region right here between 3,900 to 4,200, I don't see any support in that area that will hold up price if we keep hammering away at it over and over. Okay, but there's a decent amount of support, if we do fall straight through and price bounces up right from here, because this could then engineer an almost perfect, engineered liquidity of people picking up a lot of Bitcoin as people sell off way down here. And then, we might start our next bull run. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. All right, if we start looking on the daily chart, okay, this is where things get a little interesting, right? Let me maybe pull up to this chart right here. Here's this this flag right here. Okay, I see this bull flag right here. Okay, the bull flag can start maybe even from the bottom of this green candle right here, or we can start it from right here. Either way, this is technically still a bull flag, guys, especially given the fact that we haven't broken under and closed under this flag, which would be this ascending trend line. We are still looking bullish. Okay, this is why I'm not overly concerned with BTC dropping off and starting a new bear run just yet. We are still creating higher lows, and technically we're sitting on some pretty critical support of the bottom of this channel right here. So if we pop back up, look how easy it is for us to climb all the way to the top of this channel, right up to 57 to 5,800, right? That would make this, top right around here, okay? And we can easily achieve that in 1 to 2 candles, guys, which would be 1 to 2 days, because what's really happened is this area now has garnered so much shorting that it would be so easy for price to pop up here, right, to 54 to 5,500, and then this would liquidate all these people who decide to try to short in this area, and they would essentially pile on because they need to short cover, right? Because now their positions are underwater, and this could just skyrocket up all the way to 6,000 or 6,200, okay? And this is why I haven't quite turned fully bearish yet, because I have no reason to be, right? There's so much positive movement happening in the market, unless I'm given the signal that here's the bull flag breaking, here's 4,900 breaking, here's 4,700 breaking, I don't know, guys. And trust me when I say this, no one else knows either. Okay, if people are telling you that price is definitely going down to 4,000 or 4,200 or 3,000 right now, I would really love to see their crystal ball that they're reading, because I sure as fuck don't have one. But I would love to see where they bought one. Okay, so trust me when I say this. I've been doing this for 11 years, and out of the 11 years, one thing I've learned is no one truly knows. Markets are about probability, and that's it. There are times that you're going to be right, and then there are times you're going to be wrong. All you can really do is be able to mitigate your risk best you can to be able to make money in this market, or to mitigate your losses. That's it. Okay, every trade that we make, there's no certainty that we're going to make money on a long or short side. We just have to make sure that the stars align enough to give us a positive and a lucrative trade. Okay, I hope that becomes clear as you kind of sift through this space of bullshit, crypto Twitter or whoever is feeding you nonsense about guaranteeing you XYZ gains, because guys, it's just not possible. Okay. Johnny B said he shorted at 5,500, closed about 60%. Where would you put a stop for last 40%? Johnny, if I were you, I would probably place your stop just above here. So let's just say 5,250, 5,300 just to be safe. Okay, because if price starts moving up here and challenging these highs right here, guys, what that would imply is not only have we created a higher low, but then we are now challenging that higher high and trying to move on up. Okay, so that's what I would do, Johnny B, if I were in that position. All right. You are right, though, really annoying that there's really no continuation moves. But like I said, man, I personally think that there's still a lot of positivity in the market. And even though the Bitfinex shakeout did happen, here's something that I wanted to show you guys in terms of the volume. All right. Look at the volume compared with these two candles right here, right? Versus, the volume back here and the consistent volume that we've had for the last couple of days. Okay. You can see that, there are more, especially if I do this, right? If I do Heikin-Ashi, you can see that there are far more green candles in the way, which if you look at Heikin-Ashi, if you know how to read it, it's a trend in a momentum shift finder. Okay. Once we start seeing these red candles, more often than not, there's a couple red candles in a row, which starts, a new shift in momentum. But if we start looking at, the momentum shift from way down here at the bottom of the February 8th candle, all the way till where we are right now, which is the end of April, we see that there is far more bullish momentum, guys. That's really it. That's all you can say. Like I said, markets are about probability, and probabilities tell me right now that we have more bullish strength on our side. Okay, so I cannot just assume that, hey, we're going down to 4,000 or 3,000 or whatever, because I have enough faith telling me that this market is giving me enough signals to go along. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's okay. I might, take a loss of like a couple percent points here and there. But if I'm right, I am essentially, I don't have to think too much. I don't have to gamble. I have to go along with the market giving me signals that we are going to trend higher and higher, because the last 2.5 months have been giving me those signals, right? I hope that makes it easier for you guys to understand, okay? Another thing that I want to show you guys is this cool chart. If you go to bitinfocharts.com, I really like this chart because it shows you how positive price is, as you can see, correlations of price between the different factors, okay? So one thing that I like is the correlation of price with transactions, as well as the difficulty, okay? I find this interesting because, when you see the higher the number is, closer to 1.0 that means that the price is probably going to ascend with, say, the mining profitability or transactions, especially for Ethereum, okay? XRP, not so much. Bitcoin Cash, pretty highly correlated too, right? So when it comes to these factors, when you're looking right here, when you see a higher number right here, you can essentially make sure that the price is going to keep going with it, okay? I hope that makes sense. Now let's move on to something else that I wanted to show you guys, all right? There's some trades that I'm watching right now, and I wanted to show you guys that up front. Actually, let me show you something different real quick. 1 second, okay? Now, I just gave you the bullish scenario, right? So let's turn a little bearish for a second, right? Because I know there's a lot of bears in this market, and I want to, kind of curtail to some of their feelings as well, okay? All right, so here's something interesting, all right? I'm going to draw this up, all right? Here is something really interesting that's going on. Here is the left shoulder. Here's the head, okay? All right, and here could be the right shoulder that comes up potentially, all right? As you can see, this gets really interesting in this channel. If this happens right here, then I'm going to be worried, okay? Now again, if this does happen, that doesn't mean that the price has to break down. It just means that a pattern has formed. Please be careful of the neckline. All right, so that will then give us another area to watch other than these horizontals we're already watching, okay? But as you can see, we have been trending up consistently, guys, from way back here after we had the spike, higher lows right here. And I hope we can just keep making higher lows, okay? Because for so far, I haven't seen any issues, all right? Now let's take a look at the BTC shorts. All right. Let's take a look at the BTC shorts. All right. I think this is a wrong chart. Maybe it's over here that I'm watching them. There they are. All right. So shorts are getting really interesting in this specific area. They've definitely taken off over the last couple of days. My critical resistance for short was for the shorts was this one right here. Okay. Now you can definitely apply technicals to shorts as well. All right. It is, something that people trade, right? So you can apply technicals to anything that people trade, okay, where there's human psychology involved. That's really what technical analysis is, guys. It's human psychology at work. So what you're seeing right here is shorts taking off, right? And if they start reaching their all-time highs, which would be, let's just say in the next couple of days, then you know that there might be a big short squeeze coming, guys. Price might be hovering at the same level as 5160 or so because the retail herd is thinking about, we can just load up on shorts because price is going to go down. And then all these people are going to get liquidated on the way down when price just starts, moving up back towards 5,500, 5,800. Okay, it's going to make it significantly easy if shorts are stacked all the way up here, guys. I can promise you that. Okay, because remember that for the most part on BitMEX, as far as I know, there are way too many people who are gambling and over leveraged, meaning that they're using 50 to 100x leverage long or short positions, who definitely don't know exactly how to operate in the market, and they're going to get liquidated hard if BTC starts pushing up, right, at 5,200, 5,300, and then all these people right here, guys, they're going to be trapped underwater because their positions are now underwater, and they're going to keep on hoping that price of Bitcoin keeps going down. But what's really going to happen is price of Bitcoin will consistently keep on going up and up, and once it starts, skyrocketing past 55, 5,600, all these people right here are going to jump into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin is going to, be FOMO driven past 6,000. Okay, but again, like I've stated many times before, I think 6,000 to 6,500 at some point will be the ultimate limit where I do foresee some strong resistance headed our way. Okay, if you listen to my YouTube talk with my father-in-law, he's a veteran trader in the financial markets, in the stock and commodity markets especially, and he mentioned one thing, which was watch carefully for the 400 moving average. Okay, here's that 400 moving average. Where exactly is that? That's right around $5,800, $5,900. Okay, he states that when price breaks down, starting to break, say the 50, the 100, the 200 moving average, and then the 400, price must repair itself back up the same way. Okay, so we broke past the 200 moving average a couple of weeks ago, or maybe let's see when we broke it actually. Okay, so we broke the 200 moving average right here, beginning of April, right? So it's been about 3 weeks since we've been above it. Okay, and that's pretty strong, consistent movement. But now we must repair the price to ensure that it can keep on moving up past the 400 moving average. Okay, so once we start moving past the 400 moving average, then you're going to get really positive signs that, okay, price is now broken the 400 moving average. We're now heading into that 6,000 resistance. Are we going to fall back down to 5,000 or 4,000 or 3,000? Or are we going to essentially absorb all the supply that's in 6,000 and just keep on heading up? All right. So I think it's going to be really interesting once we start breaking past, the 400 moving average. All right. Okay. Let's get back to the trades that I'm watching now. All right. Here's one, XRP. A lot of you have seen me complain about XRP, and I've stated many a times that XRP almost certainly is going to break down to this low point right here. Okay, 4,000 and 4,200. Reason being, all right, as you can see, we have essentially broken every single support for the last, since December, okay? Since December, we've broken this support right here. Then we broke this one at the beginning of April. Then we broke this one just last week. And now this one looks like a clear struggle too. We have no strength for XRP to keep popping up and out, because I don't think it's an asset that people want to touch, to be honest. I think it's a very toxic asset at this point, and people are waiting for critical levels like this 4,000 level right here, or to make it worse, it could fall all the way down to 14 to 1500. I mean, I highly doubt that it's going to fall to this level, but falling to 4,000 or 4,200, guys, is really not out of the question, okay? So if I was to, trade on BitMEX, which I really often don't. I really hate that exchange because I honestly think it's just a graveyard for the retailers. If I were to trade on BitMEX, what I would be really betting on is futures contracts to be able to short XRP's price. All right, that's honestly where I would focus, because this is the most devastating, debilitating chart that I think is around in crypto. Okay, this looks like a complete, almost a perfect rounded move that XRP wants to make all the way back here. Okay, so please do be careful on XRP if you are trading it. Another asset that I'm looking forward to is TRX. Now, I like TRX a little bit better than XRP as a chart, because I think there's a decent amount of support in this region for the 786 fib. So I'm really hoping that price comes down to this level right here, breaks through some of these stops in this region, and then shoots back up. Okay, if it starts shooting back up, there are two ways to play this. You can buy at the 786 fib, okay, or to be safe, you can buy right around 480 satoshis or 500. Or to be really safe, you need to climb above this, big lower high right here, which lies around 630 or 640 satoshis. Okay, so I just gave you multiple levels to watch. All right, so please do check out, Tron if you are interested, but please do be careful not to go long right away. There is either, potential more downside to be had, or strength to be seen by TRX. All right. Another one that I'm watching very, very carefully is BAT. Okay, here is BAT at a pretty critical juncture. I've been following BAT in these cycles that it has. Once it touches the bottom of this channel, it loves to go back to the top of the channel, hit it a couple times, and then come back to the bottom. As you can see, our community bought in somewhere in this region right here and drove it all the way up here. We made about 30 to 40%, guys. If you don't believe me, come check out our channel, okay? Come check out our channel. You can see the truth for yourself, okay? Here, we list all the gains, okay? Even our losers and our winners. As you can see, we had a FET gain, an ENJ loss, an Ethereum gain. Back here, we had an AMB loss, a BAT gain of 37%, a BNB gain of 12.1%. All kinds of gains that we have in our channel, okay? And you can see the gains reviews right here, okay? Here are people joining, since December and have seen, pretty significant gains on their stack. Here are, our other members who have seen some nice, sweet gains on their stacks, okay? People love our community, guys. As you can see, people have seen Tezos, which is our long-term, and they've seen 22% on Tezos. Guys, we're holding Tezos for like a year or two, and we're already up 22%. Okay, so as you can see, we have some pretty significant gains to be had in our community, and people are having a good time. And again, truth is in the pudding, guys. Come join our channel, come join our community. I put out daily Bitcoin analysis and provide multiple updates, and people love our community for the truth that we provide. No bullshit, no shills, just honest, good conversations that you can learn from, you can grow from. We have a education channel down here too, where we provide a ton of different content, books, articles that I find and I write. crypto Twitter handles that are actually, non-shilly handles, all kinds of good stuff, guys, for you to become a better trader. Okay, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be at the mercy of other people. You want to empower yourself with the best knowledge that you can, right? And you can do that by joining our community. Okay, you can do that by joining our community and becoming a good trader. Trading for yourself, asking questions. So try not to be at the mercy of other people, whether it's me or anyone else. I want you to be empowered to trade for yourself and make a successful living, to be able to take your family on vacations, to eat nice food, and to not worry about your rent being due in a couple days. I've been in this market for 11 years, guys. I've been in the financial markets for 11 years, and I've had my up and down years. And I'm telling you, it's never a straight and easy path, but I promise you that I can make it much easier for you. Okay, so come join our community, www.cryptosomniac.com, and I promise that you can see some gains in the first 1 to 2 weeks that will help pay off your membership for the first month. I think that's a pretty good deal. Okay, all right, back to the charts. I wanted to show you guys something else on the RSI. Okay, let's make this RSI a different color because it is not pretty right now. Let's make it that. Let's change the background here to black. All right. Okay, so here's the daily RSI. Okay, and I had showed my community this morning. There's something like this happening. This is like the best fit. You don't need to sort of worry about cutting through the RSI, but as you can see, best fit, it covers this touch right here, this touch, this touch, this touch, as well as this touch. This means that this RSI, or rather this ascending trend line right here, has been validated because we've had more than 2 touches. We've had actually 5 touches. Now, this BTC RSI tells you this, okay? After bottoming in November on the RSI, we've been climbing pretty consistently, okay? We have not broken the trend of this ascending trend line until just a day or 2 ago. And now that we've broken the trend, we've got a couple different supports in the way, okay? We've got this support right here. We've got this support right here potentially, and we've got this one right here. This is probably the more stronger one right now, because it would imply that BTC would probably have to either stay at 5,100 or 5,000 levels for maybe a couple days, maybe a week or two, to keep draining the price slowly, or we could just have a really sharp drop to 4,600. And then pop back up from this level. Okay, I think to get into the oversold levels, I think we may really have to drop really hard, maybe to 4,000, 3,800 in the matter of 2 to 3 days. But I really doubt that right now. Okay. All right. Another alt that I wanted to show you guys is XLM. All right. Now XLM is getting really interesting, and this is one of my long-term holds. But I am a little bit paranoid about XLM because it's starting to keep testing these critical trend lines that have been held for so long. As you can see, it finally broke this trend line right here, a very critical one. And now, honestly, I don't see any support till down here, the 1600 area, guys. I think that's a pretty steep drop from this support to this support. And then after that, man, I mean, it is just sort of dead in the water way down here to 764 Satoshis. So as you can see, XLM is a very, very rough looking chart right now. And if you are looking to hold XLM long term, I'm going to try to pick up some on the critical support right here, if I can, and critical support right there. Now remember never to go all in on your long terms because of this exact reason. You never know where the bottom is going to be for a particular asset because it could just keep bleeding, guys. And unfortunately, a majority of the crypto market as you may have seen, whether it's a TRX chart, XLM chart, the XRP charts, they are trapped pretty, deadly in this lower high combination that we've had, and they just keep bleeding and bleeding. Okay, because there's a lot of room to bleed, right, guys? You cannot have all these projects be multi-million or say even sometimes $1 billion company not having a product, a working product, or a working use case. At some point they have to go bankrupt, guys. I personally don't think XLM is going to be one of them, but if it is, I take that risk because I know that, hey, this is what it takes to be early in the space. Okay, you have to think of your long terms as though you are a VC investor. Okay, an average VC investment firm looks at it this way. Okay, they may have 10 investments at hand. Okay, let's just say 100. Okay, they expect, guys, 50 of them to fail. Okay, they expect 30 of them, or maybe even 40 of them, to break even, and the remaining 10 they expect to do phenomenal returns. Okay, this is what it takes. So when you are investing in the market, you have to expect one or many of your long terms are going to fail. You don't know which one is going to be, but you have to spread your wealth into different assets to diversify your risk. If you really, really want to be a smart trader and an investor in this market, this is what it takes, guys. You have to be willing to take a loss on, some of your positions, some of your long-term portfolio, because you're not that smart. None of us are that smart to be able to make 100%, perfect bets. Okay, if the VCs can say, without a doubt that 50 of them we expect to fail, 30 to 40 of them we expect to break even, and then the remaining 5 to 10% we expect phenomenal returns, then who the hell are we to ever expect more than half or even 25% to give us significant returns, right? I hope that makes sense, okay? 4Leaf Crypto says XRP looks like a puking camel pattern. Yeah, so it's called a vomiting camel. And yeah, potentially, some of these, even XLM right here, guys, it looks like, a vomiting camel, right? You have some humps on the camel right here. Let me sort of draw it out. And then here you have the camel's head right here. And then, if we come back around, let's sort of draw this out. As you can see, here's a tail of it. I know it's a pretty bad drawing, but then once it starts spitting out, this is where you start seeing the spit out of the camel. And this is where the final capitulation happens for the asset. Okay, this is how this is seen. All right, and I've seen at least 1 to 2 vomiting camels in my life. They get really ugly, guys. Almost to the point of capitulation. So please do be aware that your long terms might potentially be in that position. Okay. All right. What's up, Ruben? How you doing, man? R3CTA. Can you look at Nano after, please? Of course, man. I got you. Please do come join our channel, guys. Again, like I said, daily Bitcoin analysis, tons of trades, and a lot of good content. All right, so currently price action is at 29.50. Nano is kind of struggling, folks, to stay above this 3,000, 3,100 area. I'm also seeing something like a bearish divergence, I want to say, from this region right here to this one. And from here, right here. So it clearly seems like this has already played out, the bearish divergence, because we already saw this on BTC, right? We saw this on BTC because we saw this thing like this, okay? Here's that higher high in price, and let's see, here we have it right there, and lower high in the oscillator. Okay, so when you see a higher high in price and a lower high in the oscillator, guys, this implies a bearish divergence. Okay, for the most part, this has already played out. Another reason why we can say that price took a pretty significant drop, aside from the whole Bitfinex FUD, is because price was pretty overbought in these levels. Aside from, having that bearish divergence, sometimes, when price is just exhausted, folks, when it's, consistently climbing up and up, it really just takes a small fuse to set off the fireworks to just tank the price. It really just takes like one piece of bad news, and then you just set off the fireworks where the price just tanks because it's so exhausted, right? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Does he realize what it looks like? Oh, that was a camel. It's not a dick, Derek. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to be gross with that. Hosem says, please look at ENJ, or I'm sorry, ENG. Is it Enigma, or you want me to look at ENJ? Just to be clear. All right. Anyway, I'll look at Enigma real quick. Enigma is actually breaking this sort of ascending channel support that it had for a little while. Okay, so again, be careful on a lot of these alts, guys. They're going to be severely rough. Let's see if this touches back all the way over here, just to see. I want to see if that lines up. That's pretty close. I would actually say that's pretty close. Okay, so this is actually touching pretty critical support, okay? Now, one could make the argument, Hosem, that, hey, this is strong support. Every time we've, touched this trend line, we've sort of bounced off of it. But here's the thing, okay? What do we know about support and resistance level, guys? You do not want your support, okay? So if price is going to, sort of touch this level once, touch it twice, and then 3 times, eventually it's just going to break on through. You don't want that same, support level to be tested many times, especially when price has bounced off it once, bounced so high, then it came down and had a pitiful bounce, then it went up again, and now it's coming back down with a vengeance, okay? Looking like it wants to break this line. This actually tells me that this trend line, more than likely, if it does produce a bounce, it's not going to be that strong. It'll come up here and then probably just rip right on through. So if you are holding some ENG, guys, I would probably sell on the next bounce, okay? And this is happening with a lot of assets. This is why in our community, we've been, very careful of not trading shitty alts. And if we do, we get in and get out. Take your profits, get out, okay? There are very few alts in this space that I think are going to pan out. And like I stated earlier, if you think like a venture capital firm, out of 100 companies, you expect 50 of them to fail, you expect 30 to 40 of them to break even, and you expect 5 to 10 of them to give you significant returns. All right. Ruben says, let's check out BNB. All right, so here's BNB, Ruben. Let's see where we are. Okay, so I stated this morning in our community, we have a lot of these conversations about, things like BNB and stuff. I am not liking BNB at this level because it hit this critical resistance right here at 24 and 25, Ruben. And what I'm seeing now is sort of these lower highs that are being created, right? As you can see, it's pretty visible, right? But what we're also seeing is sort of this, tightening price action happening from these higher lows, okay? So let's just map this out. All right, so if we sort of put a line right there, okay? So I'm seeing this sort of symmetrical triangle being created, all right? Now with the symmetrical triangle, more often than not, when BTC is not looking healthy, guys, this thing points down, okay? This is just something that I have recognized in the space, and I am very wary of patterns like this, okay? Now with BNB, you could make the argument that yes, there's this a lot of fundamental behind the scenes action that's happening in BNB. But remember, Bitcoin still hails king, guys. Bitcoin dominates everything. It basically, is a clear directional leader of the entire market. So when Bitcoin is not looking healthy, I'm really not looking to trade anything. Sometimes BNB has given positive returns when Bitcoin is going down, but more often than not, when Bitcoin is going down, every single alt is taking an even bigger shit. Okay, and I would rather be down 5 to 10% on Bitcoin than be down 30% on an altcoin or a shitcoin that will drop in a heartbeat, right? So this is why, again, in our community, if you come join, you will know hour to hour, day to day updates where we are. Okay, I stated right here in my last update, I still remain 100% in cash because the market itself has not given me a reason to jump in. Okay. All right. I think that about wraps it up, guys. I don't think I have anything else that I wanted to explain to y'all. Ethereum, real quick. So Ether is actually stuck in this. Let me pull up a different chart of mine. Ether is actually stuck in this sort of descending trend line. Okay, as you can see, this thing right here. Okay, but what's also happening is price has been on this ascending trend line right here for a little while for Ethereum. So when price comes to this apex, again, if BTC does not look healthy, this thing is just going to capitulate down. Okay, and it's not going to be pretty. Okay, it's going to go back down to like the 140s and maybe the 130s. All right. Thank you, Ruben, for that positive feedback and review. I appreciate it, man. Guys, come check out our community. Please let me know. Message me as soon as you get in. www.cryptosomniac.com. It's like this. .cryptosomniac.com, like that. And then when you're on it, click on the products page right here. Okay, right there. And then you can go to the Cryptosomniac Advantage right here. Okay, and you just click on that, and you should be all set to get into Discord. Okay, and then message me when you're in. All right, come say hi to me. I'm right up here. Okay, all right. That's pretty much all I have, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed our analysis. Again, I do this as much as I can for free members, but trust me, I do this a lot more for my paid community. You can see all the gains and reviews right here. If you're new and watching on YouTube, here are all our gains listed by, people who have joined our community for a while. We have a newsletter. We have trades that people are profiting off of. We also just have people who are learning a lot. Okay, and I think that's probably the most important thing that you can take away from our community. Okay, all right, folks, that's pretty much it. And I will talk to y'all soon, hopefully in Discord. All right, take care. Cheers. Message me when you're in. All right, later, guys. Have a great Friday.